नमः। ॐ व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्त्रे पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे तुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। ॐ नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। After the Rajasuya Yajna and the elimination of Shishupala by Shri Krishna, and Shri Krishna receiving the highest honors as part of the Rajasuya Yajna, all the kings leave, and Yudhishthira is not so willing, because as the saying goes, all is well that ends well. But this has not ended well. A king has been killed and there has been a fight, a clear polarization between those who stand with Krishna and those who stand against him. And hence Yudhishthira is not so very happy, but still, okay, the Rajasuya Yajna conducted. And people happy, so many gifts, profusion have been given. That is one of the purposes of a yajna, so that the wealth is taken in and then given out in profusion, the ebb and flow. Economy depends on that. So Rajasuya Yajna is over. And one of the key points in the Mahabharata, key turning point, has happened. Duryodhana, whose envy was smoldering, now it's a full-fledged fire, because he has seen so much treasure coming in, so much wealth coming in and pouring into the treasury of Yudhishthira. Now he is Chakravarti, Lord of the world. The last thing he had expected. And plus he is also insulted in the Maya Sabha. The Maya Sabha, where a person without arjavam, without straightforwardness, when he enters, the architect Maya has designed it in such a way that the person's crooked emotions will be revealed. And Duryodhana is burning with jealousy. So when he enters, he falls into water where he thinks there is no water. And hence everybody laughs. And especially hurtful is that Draupadi laughs. A woman laughs in front of everybody. And that is not acceptable to Duryodhana. So he seeks revenge. So he goes back to Hastinapura, to his father's land. And he is not happy. He starts getting emaciated. He cannot enjoy his food, his comforts. He just cannot. He has everything going for him, but he cannot enjoy. We find it now so often. We have everything in our lives, but we cannot be peaceful. We cannot enjoy that luxury, the outward wealth. There is no happiness. Something is burning us inside. And this news reaches the king, Dhritarashtra. He has to do something. He is his son. Duryodhana is Dhritarashtra's son. And the evil counselors of Duryodhana, his mama, his brother, and Karna. Karna is an evil counselor. Though he has so many good qualities going for him, still association with Duryodhana has caused it. In fact, at a certain point, Bhishma explains that he could not act out of dharma because he has had the food of Duryodhana. That's how association, sangha, penetrates us, whether we like it or not. So the evil counselor Shakuni, he reports to the king that Duryodhana is not well. What are you doing, O king? And they build up a plan. We should defeat these Pandavas. We should take away everything that belongs to them. How do we do that? Karna suggests, let's go to war. But then Shakuni and others advise, no, that's not prudent. They are powerful, and that too now they have become the king of kings. You cannot defeat them at war. You have Arjuna, you have Bhimasena, you have Krishna on their side. It's just impossible. And that too after what happened at Varanavata. And now the whole Panchala Desha is with them, powerful Drupada and his sons and brothers. So we need to use stratagem to defeat them. And Shakuni is good at that. So he advises, let's play a game of dice. What an idea. But that's how it happens. Karna is not happy because he's a warrior. His blood rushes. But anyhow, they settle for that. Because Duryodhana is also hearted. He does not want to encounter them and fight. He is easy way out. He's grown up in pressure. Too much of it. And hence completely attached to it, and he will do whatever that is required to keep that up without anybody obstructing it. So they approach Dhritarashtra and get his consent. Arm twist him. Because he is so attached to his son, so he can easily be arm twisted. No? Filial attachment. Not wrong. But beyond a point, there is a fine line. There has to be detached attachment. There's a fine line. If that is not taken care of, that goes to extremes. So they arm twist Dhritarashtra into agreeing for the game of dice with the Pandavas. So Duryodhana gives instruction to construct the Jayanta Sabha after Maya Sabha. Though it's a good, wonderful Sabha, huge Sabha, still it is nothing compared to Maya Sabha. It's constructed and the Pandavas are invited. They come over because they have to accept the invitation. That is Kshatriya Dharma. Plus they have grown up with the Kauravas, grown up under the protection of Dhritarashtra. They are his sons after all. His brother's sons are his own sons. Dhritarashtra has this understanding earlier, but over a period of time that gets clouded. And hence his actions are extremely partial towards his own blood, his own bodily sons, and not those of his brothers. So he fails to live dharma. So the Pandavas and Draupadi arrive at Jayanta Sabha, they are taken over, and then the game of dice is announced. The ill-fated game of dice. A muhurta is fixed for a thing. So a Subha Muhurta for the game of dice. Everybody is invited. All is Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Vidura. They are not happy. They strongly criticize this. They advise the king against it. But Dhritarashtra would not listen, because Duryodhana would not listen. And hence it starts. Yudhishthira says, I will play. And Duryodhana says, I will have a by-runner. Shakuni will play for me. Shakuni will play for Duryodhana. And the whole Sabha is like, no way. But it is that way. And hence, one after the other, Yudhishthira loses. Shakuni throws his dice, every step he wins. Yudhishthira is such a naive player, but addicted. Once he is in the heat of things, he cannot roll back. Once we are into something, we are so lost in it that we cannot hold back, we cannot roll back, and we lose everything in the process. So that happens with Yudhishthira. His mind gets clouded one after the other, and that too, the Kauravas, Shakuni, taunting him with words. Words can be used as spikes. You can be goaded with words, motivated. And Yudhishthira is constantly goaded to stake more and more. He loses all his wealth, and he is a Raja, Maharaja, King of Kings. Rajasuya Yajna has been conducted. So much wealth, all that lost. And Shakuni does not stop. So brothers, one by one, are lost, become slaves. And finally, Yudhishthira himself becomes a slave. And it does not end there. Shakuni further goads Yudhishthira. You have now lost everything. There is still one very precious possession that you have. Yudhishthira does not understand. Nobody understands. Shakuni says, what about Panchali? The whole Sabha cannot believe this is happening. And that too in the Kuru Sabha, which is known for its dharma, which is known for its sublime ideals. Nobody can believe that this is happening in Kuru Sabha, the great Kuru lineage. So many Rajarishis. There's a huge uproar. But Yudhishthira is such a man that once asked, he cannot retrace his steps. And hence, he agrees. He stakes his wife, the wife of all the Pandavas, Draupadi, the great Panchali. He stakes her and loses her. Nobody can believe this. Duryodhana is excited. Karna is in glee. Yes, because Draupadi, who insulted her, she will not marry a Sutaputra. Now is the time for revenge. Revenge is called sweet revenge. Why? Because you see the other suffering, that makes you feel sweet. But that's a temporary condition. Long term, it produces huge bitterness. But nobody understands that. People settle for short-term pleasure, not for long-term goodness, dharma. Duryodhana calls for Draupadi to be brought in. Draupadi does not agree. Then finally he sends Dushasana to bring her in. When earlier Duryodhana's charioteer goes there, Draupadi asks him, "You ask the Sabha, who was lost first, Yudhishthira or me?" The Sabha does not answer. All the kings, the great people in the Sabha do not answer, do not open their mouths. They are stupefied by what has happened. Plus, do not Dhritarashtra, the one who should be answering and putting a check to, is himself fully involved, because every time the dice is rolled, he asks eagerly, "Who has won? Who has won?" That's when the true colors of Dhritarashtra come out. People understand how cruel he is, how very envious, how very insecure he is. That by any means possible, he would eliminate the Pandavas and side along with his son Duryodhana, no matter how violent and cruel and adharmic he is. So Dhritarashtra is fully in it, and hence nobody would open their mouth, because the king himself is hand in gloves with what is happening. And hence Duryodhana says, "Dushasana, you go and pull that slave here. That slave here, she is a slave. Her hands are slaves, so she becomes ours. She has to obey commands." And hence Dushasana goes, drags her by her locks, drags her into the court of men, and she is clad in a single piece of cloth, because she is in her season, in her periods. And nobody can believe this. Believe that such a dastardly thing is happening. She's brought in, and all the elders shut their eyes. They are not able to bear it. So many of them shed tears of grief and anger, but they are not able to express it. The Pandavas, with Yudhishthira at their head, stand mute with their heads lowered. That dear Panchali is brought in, is treated like this. One who is the queen, the declared queen of the world, after the Rajasuya, is now treated worse than a slave. Even a slave would be treated more humanely. But now Draupadi is treated worse than a slave. She cries to Bhishma, "Oh Pitamaha, what is this? You tell me, is this right?" Bhishma has no words for her. She cries to everybody, all the elders. They have no words for her. They are ashamed, they are in pain, but they don't stand up to Dharma. If only Krishna were there. But Krishna is far away. Destiny. So Draupadi clearly asks, did Yudhishthira lose himself first or me first? If he has lost himself first, how can he stake me? Because he's already lost. But nobody would listen. Bhishma, when pointedly questioned, he remarks, Dharma is very subtle. What a remark. But he says this, Dharma is very subtle. Oh my God. And hence, Draupadi has no support. Yudhishthira does not stand up. And Bhima, Arjuna are all bound by Yudhishthira. Oh, what a scene. And Karna goads Duryodhana and Dushasana to do the worst thing possible to a woman. In the court of men, her sari is pulled off. The only piece of cloth that she is draped in is pulled off. And she goes into a trance and just prays to the Lord. And miraculously, to everybody's surprise, as Dushasana keeps pulling, more robe drapes her. And finally, Dushasana is tired and sits down beside a heap of cloth. After witnessing this miracle, now Dhritarashtra wakes up. Oh no, what have I done? Such miracles do not happen usually. That means she has divine protection. And hence, he asks Draupadi, "Oh, forgive my son." Because now he has to be careful. He understands the power of the Pandavas and the divine protection that they have. Immediately after this episode, Dushasana, Duryodhana, Karna, Shakuni leave. Because anyhow now it's been won, these are slaves. So they leave. And after that, Dhritarashtra offers Draupadi a boon. Ask me of a boon. She says, release my husbands. Let them not be slaves. The coronal locks of Yudhishthira have undergone ablution of the Rajasuya Yajna. So that boon is granted. Dhritarashtra further grants boons. He says, take back your kingdom. Let there be no ill feeling between the cousins, Pandavas and Kauravas. And hence, they get back everything that they lost and they start out. Duryodhana in the meantime comes to hear of this. He rushes back to the court and cries out at Dhritarashtra, "Oh, Father, what have you done? All this while we have struggled this moment and they have become slaves and you have released Pandavas. Oh, what a tragedy." And hence he again threatens Dhritarashtra. Otherwise I will kill myself. He threatens in such words, such painful words for a father. How can a father hear this? That his own son threatens to kill himself. And hence messengers are sent out to bring the Pandavas again for a game of dice. And now it is agreed that 12 years, whoever loses, 12 years they spend in the forest, Vanavasa. And the 13th year has to be spent undiscovered by anybody. If the loser is discovered during the 13th year, again the cycle repeats. 12 years of Vanavasa, 13th year incognito. This is a wonderful plan, because this can keep repeating ad infinitum. And Duryodhana is very sure that Shakuni will win for him the kingdom and he would be the sole ruler of the entire world. So it's decided. Shakuni rolls the dice and won. So the Pandavas are divested of their robes. Before going to Masa, they need to bear skin, barks, kings themselves, but they are completely divested of everything. And it's a huge pitiable sight. Nobody is able to bear the sight of the Pancha Pandavas and Draupadi in in such dire straits. But what to do? Duryodhana and his team are so happy. Before this happens, on seeing Draupadi insulted and ill-treated, the Pandavas take oaths in front of everybody in the Sabha. Bhima says, this Dushasana, I'll rip open his heart and drink his blood during battle. Yes, battle. Because now Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, all these have used words. But later in battle, these will come out as arrows, as missiles against themselves. Because words are actions. Actions have consequences. And the consequences of such wordy darts are actual missiles, actual darts. They will take their blood, life out of them. And hence Bhima solemnly takes an oath in anger. I'll drink the blood of this Dushasana, his own cousin, his own brother, who he has grown up with. And on seeing Draupadi, in fact, Duryodhana says, you can choose anyone amongst us. Why the Pandavas are slaves now? And hence Duryodhana slaps his left thigh. Come be seated here. Bearing it. In front of the entire court, a single woman, and Duryodhana does it. And hence, in all anger, Bhima says, I'll break that thigh of yours. And you will lie writhing in pain, and that's how you will depart from this world when war happens. Arjuna further states, I will kill this Karna, Sahadeva, Nakula. They take oaths that they will each kill Shakuni's son Uluka. And after this episode is when Dhritarashtra wakes up to the reality, because the words and the events have actually strong consequences. And he lets them go. But then again they are brought back in, defeated. Now they depart for Vanavasa. 12 years of Vanavasa and 1 year incognito, completely undiscovered. So as they leave, it is clear that at the end of 13 years there will be a war. And Draupadi is very clear in her oath. She will not tie her locks touched and dragged by Dushasana until his blood is spilled in war. So she tasked Bhima with bringing the blood of Dushasana, with which she will wash her hair before tying it again. Tying of hair is considered so very important. And thus ends the